Hi everybody, thanks for your commenting on the previous video. I've seen a lot of good comments and I want to share the experience that people shared in the comments and try to figure it out more deeply why Docker is doing it and how to prevent it. You already knew how to prevent it, but I want to discuss the idea why it's going on and how to use Nmap properly, because eventually I did it wrong. So let's figure it out what I did wrong. Why it happens, described by Docker itself. You can see that here. So basically the Docker use the IP tables, and IP tables, it's sort of a guard in your Linux system that prevents everything, basically filtering your traffic of the internet. And here they're explaining how the Docker works with the IP tables. You can read how it creates, etc., etc. And we can list IP tables on Linux like this, IP tables, L, and you can see the all rules, and they just explaining what is going on there. Yeah, you can see here drop anywhere, everywhere, what we're going to drop, policy, and yeah, basically everything is specified here. How it should work, what to drop. You can read more in details how all of this IMCP packages works over the internet to perform the checks if the host is available or not. And why it's going on, we also use the two addresses. One of them is 127.0.0.1. It's your local host or loopback address, because everything what you send on your loopback or local host will never ever reach the Wi-Fi or your Ethernet card. It every time will be just looping inside of your system and your CPU and memory and never leaving it. And this address with 0000, it's a wildcard address. And the wildcard address, basically it means that everything from internet can reach this address. And so it's external. That's why the internet can reaching this address with the packages. Yep, just communicating with this address and any port you specify here. And I think one of the approach you can do, you can never export the ports outside and you can use them inside of your Docker network, or you need to use the reverse proxy. Caddy or Nginx will help you to hide your APIs, and if you're using the loopback, Nginx can reach your basically your local host. So if it's your machine, it exists like this, and it's your machine, also you can run Nginx here, and it will be, let's use the green color, so it's Nginx. It's also running on your machine, and Nginx can handle the request from the internet for you. So if you have any requests from the internet, and it will help you. Internet, so it will handling the requests and routing them inside. But this address, the wildcard address, this is accessible from the whole internet. So it's no problem to access this address on your machine. And this will be all the time going in loop on your machine and never will be reaching from outside. It even not reaching the Wi-Fi or your internet card. And additionally, about Nmap. It's very useful tool if you know how to use it. And when I did it, it was fine, but not really nice. Basically, if you use Nmap, you can specify the ports. And in my case, I needed to specify the port, let's say 6379 for Redis, if I remember that correctly. And when you have this port, you need to specify the website. In our case, let's say google.com. But yeah, I have a warning. Oh yeah, okay, I need to install it. Okay, let's do that. Let's install the Nmap. Yeah, because I'm running it on a Windows machine, I decided just to use my virtual machine to test it in the VirtualBox. Let's try that again. So I run it and we see it's filtered. Basically, it means there's no any ports for that. Let's make it more complicated, because for sure the port 80 and 443 is for sure opened. And we see these two ports are open. What we can do about it? We can also specify like this. It means please don't send ICMP packages. ICMP is used to sending the ping. When you're sending a ping, it sends the very small package just to understand if the server alive. We're assuming it's alive. And also I want to request version. I assume it's like that. Oops, wait a second. It's about, yeah, I mistyped. It should be vice versa. It should be like this. service versions. Let's ping it. So how I mention it, this means give me the service versions. And now we will see where it's running. If it's your services, you will see Caddy or Nginx or whatever you're using for reverse proxy, it will be specified. And this one just assuming that your service is alive and you don't need to ping it. Let's wait. Okay, here we go. We do have a report. Let's move it a bit here. You can see that. And the reports, we do have a lot of things. But here you see the two ports, they are open for sure. Yeah, of course, they're open for the Google. And we see GWS. GWS is a Google Web Services. So it's how you can use Nmap. And also we can specify, let's just don't ask for service version. We can specify A, which means aggressive, and it will return us extensive information. Let's see how this behaves. I will just pause the video. And we are back, and here you see a lot of information, a lot of DNS information, and also, yeah, the header flags. And this flag, the A, it's basically the aggressive scanning for everything. If you need this information, you see the HTTP server header. That's how it's detected. And also, yeah, you can read this information. It's quite a lot. You can feed it to AI, and AI will explain you what is going on here if you really need for your service. But I don't think you really need all of this information. That's basically Nmap. You can play around. It's a very, very useful tool. But don't forget to specify your port. That I made this mistake. So thanks for this information for this comment by Sams 1792 or 1792. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thanks for pointing me out that Nmap will not scan port 6379 by default. And also thanks other guys in the comments who point me out in documentation, because Docker specified in documentation how it works with basically with the IP tables, and I told you about that. So thanks for watching. It's a short video. I hope it's also very useful for you. See you next time.